The Chargers beat the Minnesota Vikings 37-10. Now, I'm going to preface this by saying, and I'm going to admit that it's going to sound extremely harsh what I'm going to say. And it's going to sound like I'm being mean. It's going to sound like I'm hating. It's going to sound like that I am just being overly critical, and I promise you that's not what I'm doing. I'm just being honest about what we saw. You're seeing a wave of people that's condemning the Vikings organization, that's condemning Kevin O'Connell for allowing Carson Wentz to play when clearly his arm wasn't, or either his arm or his shoulder, something wasn't right. He kept grimacing every time he got sacked. It seems like every time he threw the ball, it just looked like it was in pain. To the point where he threw his helmet, it looked like he was on the verge of crying. It just didn't look good for Carson Wentz. And with him not looking good, the offense just couldn't keep up with the Chargers offense, and the defense had to be on the field too much. It just snowballed from there. And here's where I say, what I'm going to say sounds crazy and sounds harsh, but it's true. You know why I am not on the side of condemning Kevin O'Connell and condemning the Vikings, even though I do feel like the organization and the coach at times has to save the player from themselves? It wasn't until we saw Carson Wentz grimace and Carson Wentz damn near cry through his helmet that we knew, oh, he's in serious pain. Which honestly is one of the biggest indictments on Carson Wentz, because before then he looked like how he usually plays. Erratic, throwing the ball all over the place, overthrows, underthrows. One of the reasons why he's been on 6 teams in 6 years, if I'm not mistaken, is because he is an erratic player. And if you didn't tell me that Carson Wentz had a shoulder injury, I would think that this is just a regular Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz looked exactly the same as he did last week and the week before. In fact, one of the reasons why they lost last week is because he was being erratic. It wasn't because of shoulder injury. It was because he threw 4 interceptions. I think the frustration with the Minnesota Vikings, because they thought that this was going to be the year. You have one of the best defenses. You still, and I know what they're going to say. In fact, I'm not going to say that. What I'm going to say is this. This is why this has been one of the worst years for Minnesota. Not because I don't think even fully healthy they would be a Super Bowl caliber team, but what I do think is the most important, I said this before, the most important years for a rookie, I think, is your first 2 to 3 years. And when you look at J.J. McCarthy, his first year, he missed entirely due to an injury. And this year, he's missing time due to injury. So while I don't think that the Minnesota Vikings are a Super Bowl caliber team, you want a young quarterback that you're entrusting your future on. You want more reps. You need more reps. That's one of the reasons why you see Kevin Stefanski come out and talk about why Dylan Gabriel's getting all the first-team reps, because he needs it. Now, I do think that Kevin McConnell and the organization, or no, Kevin Stefanski and the organization is sabotaging Shedeur Sanders' career, but that's a whole nother topic. This is probably the worst case scenario, on top of the fact that the person that you let Sam Darnold walk to Seattle, and he looked like he's going crazy right now. It looked like last year wasn't a fluke. Not saying that, Sam Darnold is an MVP candidate or anything, but Seattle looks good. The Minnesota Vikings season was and has been derailed due to injury. And when I mean derailed, I'm not saying that if they were fully healthy, they would be a Super Bowl caliber team. I don't believe that at all. But this is the year where you're hoping that J.J. McCarthy starts to get it. Because even when J.J. McCarthy's in there, it looks like a rookie. The game is just fast for him. You need those reps. You need that time, and he has not been able to get that. So when you look, you're like, man, Carson Wentz shouldn't have been out there. Bro, you didn't know Carson Wentz was hurt until you saw him start crying on the sideline, which I get. Pain is pain. But before then, Carson Wentz was playing like Carson Wentz. And on the Chargers side, I know they won, but I think they really only won because they were going up against their offense was on the field so much because the Vikings offense couldn't do nothing. Like, this offensive line is tough, and they are in desperate need of was it Kamani Vidal, shout out to you, 23 carries for 117 yards, but I don't know how sustainable that is, especially with the offensive line. They need I know they thought they had it with Najee Harris, but obviously he's out for the year with an injury. They need a running back, which I think we saw a report saying that they're going to actively shop for a running back at the trade deadline market, but yeah. But congratulations to the LA Chargers for being the Minnesota Vikings 37-10. That's another thing, man. You go and you beat the Chicago Bears on an epic fourth quarter by J.J. McCarthy. You have one of the best defenses in football. You have one of the best defensive coordinators in football, if not the best defensive coordinator in football, in Brian Flores. And you look up today, the start of week 8, and you are 3-4.
Oh, man, you stayed to the end of the video. I appreciate you. If you like what you saw, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you'll never miss any content from your boy. You can also go back and watch past episodes, past clips, and don't forget that the Unpopular Podcast, new episodes drop every Wednesday and Saturday. Appreciate you.